Hello and welcome back. This is MC1 Gamer. I am putting out this video. This is a response to a video that was posted by Venturella, who is one of the hosts of Warhammer Weekly, as well as a whole bunch of other videos that he puts out. And he's one of the people who hosts the Warhammer PMP, which is Painters Motivating Painters. And he does a regular series now where he does things like hobby cheats, which is a really great series. I highly recommend that you check out Warhammer Weekly, as well as Vince Venturella specifically with the things that he puts out. He puts out a series where he talks about a lot of the shortcuts or hidden secrets, or not even so hidden, but just things that it's really good if you're going to get into the hobby of painting miniatures, whatever games you play. And you want to have things that look reasonably presentable. He's one of many people who put out content like this. But if you're new to the hobby, definitely check out the stuff that he's got. And one of the things he's posted is how to get into airbrushing. Now, airbrushing can be intimidating for a new player, a new hobbyist, excuse me. And it also, there's of course a barrier to entry in terms of price. But if you're in this hobby, you're probably spending money on items that are, $50, $100, several $100s. I just, dropped a bunch of money on a really good deal for bolt action stuff. I just picked up an incredible deal for a Witch Fate Tour tower, which is, it goes for like $150, $200 now, new in the box. And I picked up one that was complete and already built, but complete. For literally less than a third of that, and probably about the cost of a very basic starter, less than actually a cost of a basic starter airbrush kit. And so the price is definitely an issue, but because I want to spend it on stuff. But if you're painting your own minis, you're putting money into paints and brushes and all kinds of other materials, putty, green stuff. Just hobby tools. These are not cheap things. They add up over time, and especially paints. I mean, paints, it will get expensive. But he put out a video recently where he was saying, tell us why you haven't taken the leap to airbrushing. Now, I really want to get into airbrushing, but I have some issues that have it's been put on the back burner for a number of reasons. And I'm really looking to get over this hurdle because I want to do a better job of painting my minis. And I put a lot of time in, and I'm really slow. I do a ton of converting, and I'm still in the converting mode. I've dedicated myself to trying to get more stuff painted up, and I'm painting for like 3 or 4 different game systems right now. But I'm building stuff, and I'm in this terrain kick right now where I want to get a whole crap load of terrain and get that stuff looking good for the table and getting good mats. I'm in that phase, but I need to get back to my minis. So I get things into mid-stage, and then I leave them and I go to something else, and I have to get back to them. But when I start something, or if I'm going to complete jobs, stuff that's on the table that I put aside and that I'm looking to get back to, I want to do a good job. I want to make them look better. I want to up my game. So I really want to get into the airbrushing. But here are some of the reasons why I haven't. Price shouldn't be an issue. It is in some respects, because it's another one of those things where it could get away from you. If like me, and I'm sure many of you are, you dabble in a new system, something new comes out. Like I just started looking at Frostgrave, and while it's only like a $20 investment for the book, there's another book that's coming out. I'm probably going to get that, and I've taken a lot of minis that I already have, or things that I've bits and stuff that I can mash up, and I'm mashing it up. I spent about the last week just kind of gathering stuff up for a couple war bands, so I have a few options and getting some terrain, which is why I got the Witch Fate Tour, for example. And I'm getting some other stuff like things from the pet store, the aquarium stuff that really looks good on the table. A lot of people have you've seen it probably in a lot of other places. And I'm looking to get one of those wintry alpine type mats, the big mouse pad mats, which is not cheap either. And I'm hoping to get one of those so that I can have them really nice. If I don't, I'm just going to get a white sheet that white cloth material that I'm just going to put down for a 3x3 or 4x4 board and start with that, so I could spend money elsewhere. But if you start a new system, it starts to become an investment. You start putting money into it. And when I start looking at things that I want to pay money for, I want to see that it's going to work for multiple systems, like all the hedges and the bocage and the hills and the trees that I've invested in over the past 6 months. Those all can be used for multiple systems. I can use that for AOS, Age of Sigmar. I can use it for Warhammer Fantasy. I've actually played only a couple games since Age of Sigmar came out, but it's still an option. Mordheim, it's fantastic for Mordheim, all the things, the buildings that I have. Bolt action, there's a lot of stuff that carries over. I kind of been looking at buildings that look like old Europe so that I can put them into Age of Sigmar, but they can work for Mordheim, especially, as ruined buildings that also are meant for a World War II, European setting. And I like that I have a dual purpose, and of course I could use that stuff as well for Frostgrave. And then there's things that I'm going to be using for Frostgrave that are obviously meant for Age of Sigmar. So there's definitely a carryover with a lot of these things that I want to be able to use for multiple systems. I don't want to get into a whole new system where it's just impossible. Nothing's going to fit. So like for instance, science fiction stuff, stuff that's high tech, won't fit into any of the systems I'm currently playing, even if there's a system that interests me, which may happen with the new Antares game that Warlord just recently came out with. I might get sucked into that. Who knows? Or it could be a Kickstarter. Or I have a friend that is starting up his own game system, Spider Monkey Games, who has a system that he's looking to get started with a Kickstarter. I might jump into that. I mean, there's definitely. But once you get sucked into that, it does cost. It absorbs some of your money, and getting involved into airbrushing is going to suck the available resources. So let's just take a look at some of the things that Vince had talked about. He had mentioned that there's, just do it. Just get a cheap kit, and you'll upgrade as you get better. Learn. It still is going to up your game. It's however the quality is when you first get into it, it's going to be better than a lot of the stuff that you're doing by hand, just because of some of the capabilities of airbrushing. The priming is better, it's cleaner, it's thinner. All those things may be true, although I don't know. You put it in my hand. I'm good at building the models, and I'm really good at converting models, but I'm still working on upping my game for when it comes to painting the models. So I'm learning a ton over the past couple of years. I think I've definitely upped my game, but there's a whole lot to learn. And but airbrushing is going to be just like another thing that I'm just starting from scratch. It's another thing to put in your head, and hopefully everything else doesn't leak out your ears. I've already got a lot of game systems in my head right now that are, it's hard to keep track of all the rules and keep up to date and, and be good at it. So it's just another thing to another hurdle. So, let's look at the price. A simple beginner set is probably a good $90. And you're gonna. The way I look at it is, if you're gonna get involved in that, there's other things. It's not the whole kit. There's probably going to be cleaners involved, which is not going to be terribly expensive. There may be cleaning tools. I don't know all that. I mean, I'm still gauging that. There's the airbrush spray. What is it? The spray booth. And that is something I definitely will need, because I don't have a really well ventilated work area. That and I've been told you don't really need that, that the spray booth can kind of help with that, but I don't have an area where I can vent it into a window that I can, like a window that opens up and down. A lot of my windows kind of just go like that, so there's no venting that's working. And I only have a couple of areas in the house that really work. I have my office, which is not the most convenient thing, and I do a lot of work in my basement, which is a nice big TV, which I watch a lot of YouTube videos while I'm doing my work there. So it's easy to do it with with brush work. And I could do it in the garage, but the garage is freezing in the winter and a sauna in the summer, and it would take a whole lot to convert that into a work area, and it wouldn't be nearly as comfortable. But I think for priming spray stuff, I could probably utilize that area for the spray booth, to do large area spraying work. I'd probably relegate it to the garage just because. But I'm concerned with things like the cleaning materials and just having the cost blow up more than just the basic $80 or $90 for a starter kit. Because I look at like the spray booth. The spray booth is another $80 at least. even for that portable one. It's not like it's another $50 or $40. You know, a decent spray booth, I mean, I guess I could build one out of cardboard, but that's not going to have any ventilation capabilities or any kind of fans or anything on it. It's just a box so that it collects the spray and so it doesn't go all over, you know, the room, and that's not a good solution. I would want to get a booth, so that's going to at least double the cost right there. And then there's the other material costs, as well as the investment of time of learning, which again, it's like learning a new game system, and that it is going to be a learning curve, but you have to invest the time. You got to read the book, you got to watch the videos, you've got to try things out and test on, you know, crappy models or whatever, so that you can fail. So that's an issue. But where I go and do the spraying is, and what the environment in terms of where I'm doing the work is a monstrous issue. So like a spray booth is essential, because I'm probably going to be doing it in one of two different places inside the house. So I want to make sure that I have the space that's appropriate for it. But I also want to make sure that these are not, it's not going to then suddenly have this long-lasting smell or fumes that are going to impact when the rest of the family comes into the home, into that room. So, you know, I have a son, I have cats. My wife, if there's that aroma or the film is, you know, is there, if there's anything that is long-lasting or ever present after I do the work, that's something that I'm concerned with, because these are living areas. They're not work areas that are completely isolated, like maybe my garage. And the garage is just not convenient or comfortable like these other areas. So the brush work is really easy. So I do my priming and big spray stuff, or sometimes when I do distance spray stuff for, you know, for certain, you know, with the can, you know, miracles with the can, you can do it, but it's not. It's like the cheap man's airbrush. You know, there's methods to do that, but it's certainly no high, you know, detailed work. It's from distance. It's just for, you know. In any case, these are the hurdles that I have. So, Vince, you know, this is some of the rationale behind it. I think I could take the plunge and perhaps before the end of the year dive in and get myself an airbrush and get these materials. But this is, you know, I think even if I could rationalize, or, you know, or because I do buy and sell stuff to try and pay for most of the materials in my hobby, like a lot of us do, trade and whatnot. There's definitely, and of course, you know, Patreon supporters. I only have a few, but, you know, hey, thank you guys for those of you who even put up just $1 a month. I mean, thank you for doing that. It helps. Every little bit helps, and it's highly appreciated. I mean, it's, by the way, to everybody watching, not required. There's no content that I'm going to put out ever that's going to be exclusive just to Patreon people. But you know, giveaways are probably going to be, you know, very much geared towards supporters. I mean, that's just the way things are. But I will be giving away stuff to viewers as well. You know, I mean, hopefully, you know, those are people that will try to, you know, contribute back as well. But you know, the idea though is that there is a cost, and I would like to hear what people think, and certainly so any of the supporters that I do have, any of the contributors I do have, if you know, I would like to hear your input, certainly, because you're heavy supporters of the channel, subscribers as well. If you're interested in the content of the channel and you want to see it improved, I'd like to hear your opinions. I mean, I'm certainly looking to increase the quality of materials, of audio, of video. I'm looking to get a new webcam. Obviously, that's on the radar as well, so that, you know, everything isn't all grainy and, you know, and washed out with a crappy cam. But I want to make sure the quality, the picture quality, is better and improved. But I think the most important thing is the environment of the content for the game. You know, a nice playmat, a nice terrain, and well painted miniatures, or at least reasonably well painted, because you're not getting really up and close when that close for most of these videos. But you want to see something that's not going to be prime black or basic, you know, gray or metal. And I agree with that. You know, it takes away from the video, takes away from the experience. And if I'm going to do that, I want to be able to enjoy that the paint jobs were decent. So I want to go that direction. But I'd like to hear what people think about the circumstance. I'd like to hear about what people think about with suggestions in terms of what other things I would need, what I'm getting into. In terms of, you know, cleaning materials or other tools or other types of things that may be hidden costs that are not just the basic set. I know I'm going to, as I would get better, the other cost is I'm going to upgrade the equipment, and that's a big deal as well. You know, I mean, I'd probably be better suited buying somebody's upgrade a setup that somebody had that they're upgrading to that they've been using, and get a discount on that. If there's people out there that are interested in doing that, I'd be interested in having that conversation. But the idea though is that if you have an opinion on this, feel free to share it, because you know, if you're a viewer of this channel and you're probably interested in certainly the quality of the content. So I'd be happy to hear your input, and thank you for tuning in any case, and have a great day, everybody.